Hey everyone, doing something a little bit different today. Um, I have a question that's nagging at me, that's bothering me. Um, Over many years, I've heard about this particular person and situation, and I've reached the point where I want conclusive proof. So this time I'm switching roles a little bit, and I'm going to play the part of the skeptic um, because there's something about this that just kind of bothers me. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about this very, very overquoted um, letter to Giuseppe Mazzini by Albert Pike that pretty much every conspiracy channel in the known universe has covered for as far as the eye can see. Um, Very interesting wording and letter. If you don't know about it, he speaks about three world wars. So Albert Pike was a Confederate general. He was an occultist. He was a Mason, and he was very intelligent. I believe he was accepted into Yale or one of the top universities. But he was a Confederate general, reaching his peak around the 1860s and 70s. And apparently, there is still a statue of him in Washington, D.C. in 2017. What did I just say? There's still a statue of Albert Pike in Washington, D.C., and I might have saw it or passed by it when I was in Washington, D.C. in 2017. That's what I meant to say. Um, so my question is there's a lot of questions about the validity of this letter. And Giuseppe Mazzini, so supposedly Albert Pike had dreams in 1871 about three world wars. And he wrote it to his fellow compatriot, some sort of Italian political activist named Giuseppe Mazzini. He wrote about his dreams, and he described these dreams in very finite detail about how each world war would play out. Three world wars, and he even used very specific words like Nazi and things of that nature. So the Third World War is particularly interesting in that he describes um, that it will both be a combination of Islamic extremism and a war between religions and atheists and nihilists. So it's sort of implying a war of belief systems, essentially. And in the letter, it states that the world population will be sort of disillusioned to all sorts of religions, especially Christianity, and they'll be so tired of all of it that they will just bow down and accept the doctrine of Lucifer, whatever the doctrine of Lucifer is. I'm not entirely sure. One thing I do know about Albert Pike was that he has quoted things about Lucifer. So was he a worshiper or believer? Possibly. I don't know much about the individual, but he did quote really strange and odd things, um, basically implying that Lucifer is the real God, sort of thing, right? Anyway, that actually can be verified and confirmed and is in the historical record. He also said a lot of other quotes, a lot of very deep philosophy, basically, things relating to behavior and life situations. So he was very philosophical. Um, I'm sure he was not the greatest individual. I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm not saying that I like her. I'm indifferent. I'm neutral. I just don't know, okay? I don't know. So this is why I'm trying to figure this out and ask you guys. Maybe somebody does know. Um, because his letter to Mazzini has been so overblown to over the years that it bothers me because there is no real evidence, real solid evidence that he actually wrote the letter, which is, obviously problematic. There's even people who claim that this letter was in the London Museum for many decades, and the London Museum never had it apparently. And I've actually been to that museum, by the way. Um, so it's widely believed that this letter is a hoax. I mean, that doesn't mean that it is, okay? I am going to be the first guy to tell you that conventional history and what we're told is so full of lies and bullcrap that you can't really trust anything, hardly anything that you're being told. Even recent history, right? World War II, September 11th, all sorts of things, even in recent memory, cannot be trusted in the so called historical record, let alone things in the 1800s and beyond. So, just because historians claim that it's a hoax doesn't mean that that's what I believe. But I do believe that there's no solid evidence that this letter was actually handwritten by Albert Pike. So that's my question for anyone. If anyone watches this video today, if you could prove to me that and show me at least something, that would be extremely overjoyed because I can't find a damn thing. There are some other strange things that I did learn about Albert Pike. If he is to initiate a new world order by the use of a third world war, being one of the main instigators to put that into motion, from what I learned about him is that he was actually anti big government, anti he was what we would think of today as a libertarian sort of mindset. He really was interested in states having their own power. He was really small government minded. He wanted government to stay out of people's affairs on a minimal scale. Then again, probably not the best individual on the planet, a Confederate general, so he was obviously a racist and supported, you know, he supported slavery, obviously, probably. So, but then again, that was not an uncommon mindset back then whatsoever. It was very common to think that way for a large masses of the population. So he was not unique for being that at all. Um, anyway, I'm intrigued though, and it's still an interesting letter, and it's still very deep and interesting, and pretty well described. If it really was written in the 1800s, it doesn't matter if it was written by Albert Pike or not. Whoever did write it was sort of spot on, and I say sort of because I'm going to disagree on the catalyst of the Third World War being religiously motivated. Why am I going to disagree with that? Because from what we're seeing in late 2021 right now, we are in the first steps towards a third world war. I would say the second, even third steps by this point. It might be a few short months or years away. And it is something that is a lot more related to resources and resource extraction and dominance and power in general dominance and power. So places like China, who are growing even now, even after all these events, their economy is still exploding compared to ours, and they are in dire need of resources. So Where are they going to get them? Resources in other countries, domination and control. That's what countries have done throughout the epochs of history. So, and I'm sure we have a major problem with resources that you're not being told about. We have had cataclysm after cataclysm related to weather, related to there's just so many weather related events that are destroying crops left and right, destroying fields, destroying food production, the supply chain crisis. All of these things are a resource problem. The Third World War, its main premise, its main focus will be resources and dominating other countries to extract those resources. If the United States falls, unfortunately, I don't even want to say if. At this point, I'll just say when. The first thing that places like Russia and China are going to want is our vastness of mineral resources, natural gas, and other things. Speaking of natural gas, as of today, Russia cut off. There's a massive natural gas pipeline that runs from Russia to Germany, and it is running at 5% capacity. So they're basically freezing Europe at this point because of the NATO situation. The situation with NATO and Ukraine is much more serious than most people even realize. They are setting up weapon system. They're setting up things that I don't even want to get into on YouTube. There's stuff going on that's just absolute insanity right now that literally looks like a preparation for a Third World War, which we've discussed in the live stream. I'm not going to get into that again. But it's not, if it's religiously motivated, it'll be on a localized scale. And nihilists and atheists, yes, there is a huge population of them in this materialist world we live in, this soulless world. Are they going to unleash a cataclysm? Possibly. That's what it says in the letter to Mazinni. But possibly not. I mean, there's plenty of religious people that are completely empty inside too, not just nihilists and atheists. And it all depends person to person. So you can't just group a population of people and proclaim they're going to do one certain specific thing. Anyway, if anyone can prove to me that Albert Pike wrote this letter about 3 world wars, please show me the proof. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not on his side. Don't take this the wrong way and take it out of context. No. I'm not going to side with his occult stuff whatsoever. So, if you have proof, just show me, please. Thank you.